Well, welcome back to Living in the Sweet Spot. I'm your host, Angelique Francis, and we are having a special guest today, none other than Ray Parker Jr. Today, my diamond in the rough, not living so in the rough these days, but my diamond is a prolific songwriter, brilliant musician, singer, producer. He's had over 20 top 10 hits. He's a Grammy Award winner, played and composed with some of the greatest artists in this business. Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Shaka Khan, and the Temptations, including the Rolling Stones, Diana Ross, Boz Scaggs, Rod Stewart, Herbie Hancock, and of course, the great Dizzy Gillespie. I didn't really know he was that old, but that's another subject. Clive Davis described my guest, Ray Parker Jr., as simply one of the best. He said that he was the best at writing hit songs, he was a clever lyricist, he had great melodies, and that he and his work with Ray Parker Jr. contributed to his marketing success for Whitney Houston and Usher and Toni Braxton. He said that his brilliance was in what he learned from Ray Parker when he worked with Ray. So without further ado, I want to bring to you my guest, Ray Parker Jr. What's happening?
Hi, what's going on? What's happening? It'd be good.
It'd be good. You know, Ray, I'm going to just talk a little bit about your history. I'm excited to have you. We've known each other a long time. But I know that you started playing professionally, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you will, at 13. You toured
somewhere about there is close enough. That'll work.
Okay, toured with the Spinners first.
Yes.
At 13.
Yes.
Some people aren't potty trained at 13.
What's so funny about that?
That's amazing.
He's trying to make some money. I was in Detroit hustling.
Right, and then Marvin Gaye at 15.
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder at 17. On tour, yes. Stevie Wonder at 17.
Yeah.
How did you get the attention of Stevie Wonder at 17? Tell me.
I was thinking the same thing. I think it was Marvin Gaye told him about me and Bohannon and a couple other folks. But then the question would be, how did I get their attention, right?
Exactly. I know it started in Detroit.
It started with the Spinners. I got the attention of Billy Henderson, who said if I could play this song, Fascinating Rhythm, and read the chart, that I could have a job. That means I'm qualified.
Okay.
And so at 13 years old,
but did you have to get a permission slip from your parents?
Yeah, you get it from my mama and my daddy. So everybody had to go talk to my parents and ask them and assure them that I wasn't going to be drinking in some bar or something. Or deal, you know, they didn't think I was chasing girls at that age, which I wasn't. So nobody's worried about that. It was more the drug scene and alcohol and doing, you know, things that were going on bad that you know, those rumors you hear about those musician folks, you know. They didn't want that to come true. So people had to go over my house and convince my parents that they could take me away for the weekend.
And bring you back. Go make a couple of hits and then bring you right back.
And bring me right back. That's
wow. True. So at 17, you even worked with Marvin Gaye. Is that correct?
No, yes. 15 I was working with Marvin.
Okay. So what was that like?
It was wonderful.
Were you a studio musician or did you tour with him as well?
A studio musician. I couldn't tour because I couldn't be out of school that long. So I was a studio musician, yeah. We'd go on, well, play a couple of shows here and there, but mostly in the studio. Just about every day in the studio. In fact, skipping school a lot of the time in the studio.
Okay, all right. Well, how far did you live from Motown?
No, about 15 blocks. You could walk to Motown from my house. It would be a nasty walk. It'd be cold, but you could do it. Okay,
all right. Well, you know, what I like to ask when I get an opportunity to talk to people like you is sort of, you know, what are some of those defining moments in your career?
The best decision I ever made was to drop out of school and play the guitar. Mm-hmm. I don't think I would have made it too well working at Ford Motor Company designing car parts, even if they let me put a suit and tie on instead of bro games in the factory. You know, just it wasn't my thing. I don't think I take orders well. I don't think I'm that guy. You know, I just really But you know what? The truth is, I'm not saying that after I cut hits. I didn't think I was that guy at the time.
Right.
With no success, with zero success. I was like, holy crap, I better figure out something else to do because I really don't want to do this.
It was a lot of hard work.
It was a lot of hard work. I mean, just playing concerts from 9 to 2 in Detroit, 10, 20 below zero, carrying Hammond B3 organs and amplifiers. That's a lot of work. You know. So when somebody tell me, you were lucky, that was nice. No, I'm lucky. Shoot, they weren't here when we were doing all the hard work.
Right, right.
So, like one guy said, it's funny, the harder I work, the luckier I get.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. So you had all these amazing time in the studio with these prolific artists. You learned a lot. I'm sure. What did you learn in those teenage years that you think has come with you throughout your entire career?
Maybe the first thing is I think I want to play music.
Okay.
The first thing I learned as a teenager. And hanging out with a bunch of older people all the time, I learned a lot of life experiences without experiencing it, just watching them do it, you know. And so I think that was nice to be able to experience and hang around. And I totally missed the high school growing up thing. I had no girlfriends in high school. I never went to a high school party even.
Wow.
I just played my guitar. So I think it kept me out of trouble.
But when you went on tour...
Not that I would have been a juvenile delinquent, but it kept me out of that realm. I never even crossed my mind to go, do the crazy stuff.
Right, like the drug scene and
or just stuff like steal stuff out of stores.
Oh, you mean that stuff?
Yeah,
you didn't have a chance
just
to
never
do that.
just didn't do. Well, I'm gonna not say I didn't have a chance to do it. I did not participate in that type of activity because I was busy into my music and I was in love with the music.
Oh, I love it. And the way that you handle this guitar, when you see Ray play this guitar, he has this love affair with the guitar.
Definitely
so
love affair with
speaking of love affairs, let's talk about some of your music and collaboration. I know you started the group
Women
Radio.
should never have come between me and my guitar. They'd be out. Whoever the woman is that thinks her love is going to take over my guitar, never worked.
Well, that's a really interesting thing to say. But let's stay on task because you have this guitar in your hand, so I want you to play a little bit of it. I know about radio and sort of why you started that group, and then you had this mega hit from Jack and Jill. That's the Beverly Hillsbillies.
No, that's once from Detroit, there was a boy named Ray.
Oh.
Ken folks said, boy, he could really play. Said, California is the place you ought to be. So I loaded up my Ford and I drove to Beverly Hills, that is.
Okay, all right. Well, that was a hidden treasure. Are we going to record that? Did you record that?
You should have already recorded it.
Okay, with that in mind, Jack and Jill, tell me about radio and your time with radio. Why'd you start the group and what was that about?
Well, I started the group Radio because I was writing songs, which my mother didn't know what that meant. And I was publishing the songs. I was doing actually really well, I had a few things come out. And my mother said, get me my magnifying glass one Christmas. And she had to get the magnifying glass and the record. I think it was Shaka Khan said, R. Parker. And even my mother, who's not that digital, said, one more character and you could drop the period and put AY on there,
Okay.
So she said, and just the idea she had to have a magnifying glass, I was like, I don't think I'm getting my point across too well. So I thought,
to my mother.
To my mother. So I thought, I got to cut my own record and put my picture on the front and the whole thing. I got to do that before I get out of it. I mean, if I'm going to do music, I should at least cut one.
No, but this is all at 17. 16, 17, 18.
No, this is like, the radio is more like 21.
Okay.
Okay, well, my mama couldn't see my face on the record. And so I went back to California. I said, I'm not going to do anything till I get a record out where my picture's on the front. And I wrote it myself and produced it. So when my mama says, what is this? I can say, Mama, this is my record. I did everything on this record. And that was, for me, Jack and Jill.
Okay.
The guitar part wasn't much because I'm a guitar player. So it really just goes like this. And that's all it that plays through the whole song.
Okay.
Plays that a few times, that's it. But the song goes, and I'm not singing that part on the record, but I'm just a little bit, just, Jack, and then there's these high voices, Jack! I can't get up there. Wanted someone to feel
Right.
Sat up on the hill and waited all day for Jill. It's the story that made the song.
Yeah.
Why do you think Jack snuck down the hill?
I can only imagine.
'Cause he needed love. Love he couldn't get from Jill.
Wow, thank you. That's amazing. Yeah, that was a big hit. So
Yeah, Clyde Davis heard that. He loved the lyric. He says, wow, Jack sneaking down the hill to get love. He said, he was like, when they brothers and sisters. I'm like, oh, that's a small part. Don't mind, minor details. Don't worry about that. Jack's the guy and Jill's the girl. They went down the hill.
well, yeah, he cites that as being a moment for him of genius where he figured out how you guys work together so well to market. Speaking of these crossover, it was R&B, but it was also pop. So
Yeah.
you being a crossover artist, how did you do that? So many people, that's all they want to do. What do you think was the key?
I was actually talking to George Clinton in Detroit, and he was like, Ray, man, I like how you put those California vocals on the groove and the rest of the stuff. And I was thinking, California vocals? I thought I sounded like Teddy Pendergrass or something. That's what he was. Everybody started laughing. I was like, oh, I don't sound like that, do I? No. And so that's just really an accident to say crossover. That's just my sound. That's the way my voice sounds. I can't control that. And I guess my music sounds a little bit like my voice because it has to go under my voice. And yeah, voila, we have it. That's the new sound.
Great combination.
Yeah,
exactly.
great sound.
Well, the instrumental that you did with all that funky line in it, that changed how people listen to funk and the guitar. I mean, you were part of that movement.
Yeah, what instrumental is this now?
Oh Lord, you've done way
Which
too
one am I
many
changing
things.
the world
Way
with?
too many things. Well, let's talk about the Shaka Khan collaboration.
Yeah, that was the first song I got out.
And that was number one. I
And see,
believe.
now then I wrote that at 18 years old.
Okay, so how's that
It
go?
got out at number 9. It goes hard to play an acoustic guitar, but you
So-
feel a little funky groove. Even on acoustic guitar, you can feel where it's going in. Where it's trying to touch the heart.
It touches everybody's heart. You kidding? We
Yeah.
partied so hard on that song. That was the Shaka Khan song that I think just set her career. You both were very young. She loved your groove on the guitar. You loved her lyrics and her voice.
Yeah.
It was speaking of Sweetspot, that was a collaboration with
She's a
Sweetspot.
sweet spot. Yes, she's incredible.
Yep. And then another great song, another great collaboration, because we could talk about your stuff and we're going to continue to, but was Cheryl Lynn.
Yes, Cheryl Lynn's one of my best friends, favorite friends, and I'll never forget recording "Got to Be Real," which is her biggest hit.
So how's that go?
And we did that so fast in the studio. I mean, it was like bam, 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 out. I know we put everybody together, and what was amazing is the band, the studio, everything went so well that we all looked at each other like, I think we did it already. I mean, what else do we do for the rest of the day?
You
Nothing.
can't make it.
Go
You
home.
can't make it better than
Can't
that.
make it no better than that. Man. It had a little.
I love it, and we loved it.
Yeah.
So what about your collaboration with Barry White?
Well, I did a lot with Barry White. This could take a while. He allowed me to write some songs for him, the biggest of which me and him wrote together that he sings on his greatest hits album called See the Trouble with Me. And I'll never forget playing him on the phone. He parked in front of my apartment building to see his manager who lived in the building. And I saw him in the car and I wanted to play him a song. So I drove my car around, but the gate triggered and then lifted the front of his car up. Then the gate fell on top of his car and tore it up, pretty much, yeah. So he had to pay for the gate because he's parked in the wrong spot, and then he had to pay for his car. His triple white Mark 7 or whatever it was that. I tore it up. And then I looked at him, I said, yeah, but well, shoot, you got to listen to the song now. So he listened to the song.
Oh my goodness!
He wrote the lyrics to it and still recorded it. I mean, we sold millions of records. We both made an enormous amount of money.
What was the one that stands out for most people with Barry White?
With Barry White, I don't know. I have no idea. I would think Love's Thing because it's the biggest instrumental in history.
Right.
Which stands out. But I mean, my favorite by him is probably Can't Get Enough of Your Love, which I like this.
Can you play a little bit of it?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Maybe. My darling, I can't get enough of your baby. My voice is too high.
Everybody's voice is too high.
I can't know why. Can't get enough of your baby.
Okay. Yeah.
So that good went something like that.
I love it. I love it. Ray, you know, I think so many people, I know they know about radio, they know about a few of the other hits, but I think that Ghostbusters just sort of took it to another level. And when I went back and started doing some research and watched your unsung Ray Parker Jr., and I know you just did a film documentary, so I'm learning even more about you and your career, which has been a fun journey. But what still strikes me is that out of everything you did, let's see, Ghostbusters, I think it was #1, went platinum in 8 countries. It's some amazing
We were number 1 in 52 countries around the world.
#1, 52 countries.
Some countries 8 times.
So, but we talk about what's bitter and sweet in our lives, right? I know.
There's nothing bitter about Ghostbusters.
Okay, tell me about that. Tell me about that journey, because I know that's
People ask me questions
for a
like
lot of
that.
houses.
It's like the lotto ticket. I mean, nobody wants to send that back. I mean, Ghostbusters, when I recorded it, nobody seemed to like the song. They weren't going to release it on the radio or anything. Even the company was a little really, because, you know, I sing to girls. I mean, all my records were catered towards women and that kind of stuff. Then all of a sudden I'm singing to a ghost, and the beat, the feel of the music was different. It was what the director ordered, you know. So I'm doing what he wants me to do. I'm doing all these other things. I don't really care. I'm getting paid $50,000 whether they like it or not, as long as I turn it in a couple of days. So I'm like, I'm gonna get my money, okay? I'm gonna get my 50 grand, you know. So that was really the motivation behind it. And then while the director
That's
told
why
me what
most
he
people
wanted.
work, just saying.
Yeah, well, the director told me what he wanted, so I followed his instructions, and that was Ghostbusters, you know. And when it came out, and he wanted to make it a 45, it was to everybody's surprise, like a video, and what's going to be in the video? Everybody thought, you know. And it was actually my idea to come up with the Saturday Night Live group. I figured, well, if you make a joke out of it, legitimately, then it can't be that serious. And then he just kept adding more and more people to it.
Well, that was kind of brilliant.
Yeah, and it got out of control. I wouldn't say it's brilliant, it's just what happened at the time.
But
We're
it was
like,
also a great marketing.
yeah, but we were all stumbling over ourselves. Nobody had a clue as to what they were doing. And nobody knew that the song was going to take off that big.
So let me hear it.
It came out one day and it just was boom, it just exploded, you know. It's a very simple song, and I'm just going to play the guitar part without singing, just to emphasize the thing. Because what's nice about the song and what is clever about the song is if you have a band and you're not that well accomplished, you can play Ghostbusters. Okay. It's 3 chords, and even on the guitar, without using all my talent, all you got to play is the very first chords you learn when you pick up the guitar. You know?
Okay, it's very simple.
If something strange in your neighborhood, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. So it's real simple to do.
Right.
Which made it even more popular.
Well, I love that, because would you say that a lot of your style is simplistic? I mean,
without a doubt.
What made you a huge star was these love songs you put to music to women.
Yeah. Also, I was taught when I was younger, if you're this professional musician doing this, you could play 1,000,000 notes for one person, or you can play 1 note for 1,000,000 people.
Wow.
So I wanted to play the 1 note for the 1,000,000 people. It's a little better.
Okay, but a woman needs love just like you do.
Mm-hmm. What about?
What inspired you to write that song?
Well, I had some girls in my recording studio, and the girls were talking about that part. And they were sitting on the couch just gossiping while I was doing something else. And I thought to myself, what a great idea. The girls are getting a little cocky. They feel like they don't have to take it no more. You know, the guys pushing them around a little bit, doing this and everything. And so they were really writing the song for me, you know. You're like, come home one day, get his feelings hurt. I was like, that's a good idea. I like all that kind of stuff.
Well, this is 1981.
Yeah, and what was interesting about it more than anything is I had in the song, she will fool around just like you do, right? Because if you don't mess up, she will. The girls didn't like that.
No.
It happened well with, one word changed, and just to show you how women are in particular, one word changed the song. She can fool around, and then it was a hit.
Ray, when we think about songwriting, I can't help but wonder, what makes for a better song for you as you write these songs? Is it love and romance, or is it heartbreak?
Neither one. It's usually somebody else's heartbreak or somebody else's love loss, mixed in with maybe a little bit of my story, mixed in with maybe something I saw on TV sometimes,
Okay. So
5 years from now, it'll be mixed in with the metaverse.
okay.
I take all those things together, and then we come up with a good idea that works for everybody, that attracts everybody's attention, and that's called a hit record.
But that's what's been so brilliant about your career and all those love songs that you've written. Predominantly women are loving these love songs, from A Woman Needs Love to...
Yeah.
What do you think is your greatest love song that you've written?
Ghostbusters. Made the most money. Are you kidding me?
I have the love affair with the ghosts. Okay.
Yeah, I have the most love for it. Absolutely.
Okay.
And like people say, well, what's creativity? What's the most creative thing whatever? I would say Ghostbusters. It reached the most people, so there must be the most creativity must be in there somewhere. I'm thinking, it made the most kids happy. Made my kids happy. Some of the older songs, they don't care if I wrote it or don't wrote it. So I'm going to say, without hands down, Ghostbusters puts me in the sweet spot.
I like the way that sounds. Well, there are some, I heard a duet that I had not remembered with one of my favorite artists, with Natalie Cole, Over You. Mm-hmm. I love that song.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's a beautiful, beautiful love song.
I wrote that with Burt Bacharach and Carol Bayer, which was for me an exciting moment because those are my heroes as well.
Okay.
So,
well, that
was a sweet day.
Yeah,
Sweet spot.
I guess it was. I guess it was. So, which artists in all the people that you've worked with, I talk about Sweet Spot is the intersection between timing and power and performance. And so you've worked with so many people. You have learned the most from which artist?
Stevie Wonder, hands down. Stevie Wonder took me out of school and taught me how to write songs and recorded my songs along with him at the studio. And so that experience, bar none, would be the number one experience in my life, or the life changer. If somebody says, where did the switch change? That's the largest spot that the switch changed, yeah.
Wow.
So I feel more indebted to Stevie Wonder than anybody else.
Okay. Understandable. Do you still hang out and play around? I know next door to me was Ruby and Ozzie Davis, and so every day, every weekend they'd have some great artists or poet in. Do you guys get together and have those little impromptu jam sessions?
Well, no. You don't just go to Stevie Wonder's house and jam.
Well, are you invited and then you go over there and jam?
Well, first of all, you got to get invited, and that's a rarity. That occurs sometimes because he's got a lot of kids and ex-wives and a bunch of stuff. This band, he's got a lot of stuff going on, so he can't just take all his time for me. But I am amazed at how often he'll call me and sing happy birthday, his version, of course, to me on the phone on my birthday or something like that, and we'll talk. And he's in my documentary, so... yeah, I'm pretty close to Stevie Wonder. He's cool.
So we talk about trials and some tribulations on this show, and so I'm curious, in your career, I know that there were some legal battles in and around Ghostbusters, and that you wrote another song which went to #1 that Leo Sayers produced, but it was your song, and you never got credit, and that's You Make Me Feel Like Dancing.
Okay, so we got to correct it a little bit.
Okay, please tell me.
First of all, Leo Sayers does not produce.
Okay.
He's an artist.
Okay.
And another guy produced the record and left my name off of it.
Okay.
And I wrote the song at home, brought it in, and we put it down and recorded it called You Make Me Feel Like Dancing.
Okay.
Went #1 and won the Grammy of the Year and Song of the Year. And that got Clive Davis's attention, by the way. So the good news is it got me a record deal, and a good record deal, like it was my second one or something like that. The bad news is I got screwed.
Yeah, but
I wasn't in the sweet spot.
But that's amazing. That really is a sweet spot because it was really the timing set up. Now, you didn't get paid that check, But you got a whole bunch of other checks.
It ain't sweet if I didn't get paid.
You didn't get that check, but you got a whole lot of other checks.
I want my checks. Just because I got the other checks don't mean I'm letting the first one go.
Well,
but I want that check. Are we clear?
Leo Sarah's and your team, are we still clear?
Are we clear that I'm pissed off that I didn't get that check?
Because that's heartbreaking when you put something into your soul. Yeah. So like you're creating these little.
It's not just money.
Right.
Music is its life experience and what it is, and that's it. They took a part of me and sold it to somebody else.
Well, you live in LA and in Hollywood in particular, there's always those stories that it was my idea, I had it first.
Right.
So how do you recover from that, and how do you work your mindset around so that you can keep working and keep creating?
That I'm not sure, but I remember suicide was a thought. Not a deep thought where I was going to go over the end, but I mean, it was a consideration. I mean, I was pretty depressed at the time.
You were how old?
I was like 20.
Wow. So it's like a hard reality that people aren't always looking out for you. People are looking out for themselves, and pretty much number one. They're number one. It's not necessarily you.
I don't mind them being number one, as long as they don't take my number one and put it on their back.
Exactly. Wow. Well, with that, a lot of people talk about.
Leo Sayer, nice guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was an artist. He tried to record more of my songs. He tried to make it right as much as he could. It wasn't his fault. It's the producer's fault.
What would you say has been the defining moment in your career? Like now you look back, you say, what was that one thing that has shifted me into another space where you are more whole than ever? Does that make sense?
No. But I mean, what do I remember as positive in my life that I think moved me forward in a way that I'm happy I went that direction was to drop out of college and go play music. Okay. Play the guitar.
Follow your passion.
Yeah, follow my passion. To make my own record so my mom would know what the heck I was doing. That was an important move, you know.
What did your parents think you were doing? I'm just curious.
She didn't know what I was doing. In fact, but both my parents, they thought I wasn't doing too well because I wear like t-shirts and jeans, and I didn't see me in a suit and tie. So they figured, well, you can't be doing too well out there. And then the houses out here are made out of stucco. My dad looked at it and went, we ain't got no bricks in this house. And then they put
it's gonna blow down.
Then they put him up on top of a hill in the middle of nowhere. He couldn't be on the bottom ground with everybody else. So they were actually concerned about me.
Yeah, well, I think you turned out all right.
Turned out okay. Yeah, turned out all right.
I read somewhere that your dad, in fact, was able to go on some tours with you and travel with you.
Well, my dad went on all the tours with me. You know, a lot of people would take their girlfriend. I'd take my dad.
Okay.
And me and him would hang out. He'd keep his bag packed next to the door in Detroit, and then he says, he says, I don't need to know where we're going. Just give me a phone call. Let me know when to get on the plane.
Okay.
And he'd meet me out here, and then we'd fly from here to Milan or wherever we're going.
Wow.
And it's party centrally, me and my dad.
That's nice. That's a wonderful opportunity that you were able to take him around, and I'm sure you bought them a house and did all the things that a good son would do. Yeah. Who had a couple of dollars.
He did everything that a good dad would do, so I did everything that a good son would do.
Absolutely, absolutely. What's your plans for the next 30 years?
Just to sit on this couch and play this guitar from time to time. That's about it.
Okay.
Only real location you'll find me. Everywhere else is optional.
That's nice to have options. D, I'll take another option. So, your kids, you have children? Yeah. 4 boys.
Either that or they have me.
It's probably a little of both. Yeah. And any of them following in your footsteps?
Yeah, the 2 younger ones want to play music. Gibson's doing really well now. He's got EDM. He's got a tune called Circles out and a bunch of other releases. And he works with Diplo and all these other big name people. I don't know, because I'm too old. But he does that kind of music. And he's done concerts in Spain and Italy and New York. And so he's actually making some traction. And he's made some money on Spotify, you know, more money than I made on Spotify, actually. Okay. So he's doing real well. And then there's Jericho, who's in college right now, who's still working on his craft. He's got to get a little more outgoing. He's a little quiet. But he's got the vocals, the lyrics, and it's really clever, some of the stuff he thinks of. But I got to get him out to sell it.
But all that sounds a little bit like somebody else we know. He's a little quiet.
No, I don't know anybody like that. No, I was way loud. I used to wear a t-shirt, tank tops, Had two of them, and mine said "I'm a fucking genius" on the front in gold letters, sparkle gold letters on a red T-shirt. Then I had silver gold letters on the black T-shirt. And I used to wear it everywhere, to banks, restaurants in Beverly Hills. I mean, people like, is he wearing the shirt saying I'm a fucking genius? And
okay.
Yes. Yeah, so
okay.
My
so,
kids, their sales program ain't quite the same as mine.
I got it. It's a different time too, to be quite honest. What would you say is the reason for your success? What do you think?
There's blessings from God.
I was just going to say.
Yeah, I can't claim like credit to anything that great. I'm not any real big genius or anything. I'm just a guitar player from Detroit.
Right. So just basically being blessed.
Yeah.
We'll take
absolutely.
that. Absolutely. So speaking of blessings, what scares you? Does anything scare you in life?
Yes, I'm scared of the dark, and I'm scared of ghosts and all.
Okay, wait. Let's stop. Pause. Junior is afraid of ghosts.
In particular. You know, when I grew up, I always had a night light on. And like right now, if nobody's home in my house, and I got a pretty modern house as you look at it, it's not like an old-fashioned type of spooky house, you know. But I won't sleep in this house by myself. I'll sleep in the car in the driveway.
So you rather deal with the outside
Yeah.
than the spiritual side.
Yeah, there's too many spirits in the house.
Wow.
And for me, if you like leave the curtains closed overnight, I'm not going in that room.
So this song, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Right.
So
What
what do you have to say about it?
I got paid to write it. What are you talking about? There's nothing to say about it.
So were you trying to convince yourself?
No, I ain't trying to convince myself. I know I got paid. I cashed a check. So that's what I was doing. I wasn't telling the truth about how I felt about ghosts. I mean, I don't tell the truth how I feel about anything.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It worked for the movie, right?
Yeah. But I am afraid of ghosts in the dark and all that
Why?
stuff. I'm not.
Did something happen early on?
No, I mean, I see curtains moving. I see things moving. It's just the way it is.
Maybe it's discernment.
Here's what's interesting. I'll stay in here overnight in the studio. I feel comfortable in the studio. I don't feel there's nothing funny going on here. So I like the studio environment. I feel very safe in. But just like a regular house, I wouldn't spend a night in my own house by myself.
When do you know that you're living in a sweet spot?
I'm in a sweet spot all the time, every day.
In what
But
way?
I really would like for the young kids to find their sweet spot as well, especially if they're talented musicians. And my recommendation is not what most parents want to hear. I don't like plan B, by the way. Be a secretary, be something else, or whatever else besides read.
You said you don't like a plan B?
I don't at all.
Okay.
I say burn plan B. Knock it down, tear it up. So like in the Army, burn the bridge after we cross over. That way we know we're going forward and we're not going backwards. And the reason being is every young child has a dream, and it's not their parents' dream necessarily, right? And you only live once. And I think there's nothing sadder than somebody turns 40 or 50 years old who didn't even try their dream. Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to make it. Maybe you won't make it, but at least you will have gained the knowledge to know that I can't do that. You know, that didn't work for me. I gave it my best shot and it didn't work. But giving it your best shot and failing, to me, is a lot better than not having tried at all.
Absolutely.
So I think everybody should do their number one dream, try everything. If it works, then you can obviously continue. If not, you'll figure that out at some point and go on too, but you only live once. So you really shouldn't live with regrets when you get older. You should live having tried your dream. And that is a sweet spot for me, I think.
Okay. Follow your dreams, and along with that, for you, you really worked hard. You followed your dreams, but in order to make those dreams come true, you had to work really hard.
Yeah, and you had to dream hard too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So dreaming hard and working hard.
Yeah.
Ray, if there was one thing, would you just leave us with a little bit of music before we get ready to head?
I'm in the sweet spot.
Okay. I told Tavis, you were like, I want to do an interview with Tavis.
That's right.
Go to the sweet spot. I got to go. 'Cause it's more than just a place to be.
So
how you feel about me, Tavis. You seem like the second in command. Third in command down the road, 3, 4 steps down the road.
Oh.
Hopefully I'll cut a song this year where I can move on up to the real.
I got to go. I'm sure to get a brand new start. Touch me.
Thank you, Ray Parker.